My name is Thomas Avery, and I'll never forget the smirk on my brother's face the day we sat in the lawyer's office to hear the reading of our late father's will. The room smelled faintly of old paper and coffee, the kind of place where families pretend to be civil while quietly bracing for betrayal. My father had been a complicated man, stern, secretive, the type who believed love was something proven, not spoken. My older brother, Richard, was always his favorite. Charming, confident, the golden child who could do no wrong. I was the quiet one, the one who stayed behind when our parents' marriage fell apart, the one who took care of Dad in his final years while Richard built his empire 3 states away. So when the lawyer cleared his throat and read, "To my eldest son, Richard Avery, I leave the remainder of my savings and all shares in Avery Construction," I wasn't surprised. Richard leaned back, grinning, as if the world had once again confirmed his superiority. Then came the next line, "To my younger son, Thomas Avery, I leave the family home at Willow Creek." Richard chuckled, loud enough for the whole room to hear. "The old wreck. You're welcome to it, Tommy. I'll take the money." Even the lawyer looked uncomfortable. I forced a polite nod, hiding the sting. That house, our childhood home, wasn't just old. It was nearly falling apart. Leaky roof, peeling paint, and memories best left buried. Still, I said nothing. After the reading, Richard patted my shoulder with mock sympathy. "Guess Dad always had a soft spot for you. He gave you the dust and gave me the diamonds." I smiled faintly. "We'll see." He laughed again, not realizing those words would come back to haunt him. A week later, I drove out to Willow Creek, the gravel crunching under my tires as the old house came into view. It looked worse than I remembered, vines creeping up the porch, windows clouded with years of neglect. But as I walked through the creaking halls, I could almost hear my father's voice in the walls, stern but familiar. The house wasn't empty, it was waiting. A day later, the lawyer called. "Thomas," he said, "there's something else. Your father requested I meet both you and Richard at the house next week. He left specific instructions." I told Richard, who showed up in his expensive car, laughing as he stepped out. "You actually cleaned this place up? Trying to flip it for scraps?" "Just following Dad's wishes," I said. We went inside, and the lawyer joined us at the dining table where our family once shared Sunday dinners. He opened a sealed envelope. "Your father asked me to reveal this only after both of you had read the will." Richard folded his arms, impatient. "Let's get this over with." The lawyer began reading. "To my sons, there are things I could not say in life. The house at Willow Creek is more than a building, it's a legacy. Hidden within it is the real inheritance, meant for the one who stayed when everyone else left." Richard frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" The lawyer continued, "In the study, behind the bookshelf, you will find a safe. The combination is the date of your mother's departure." My heart pounded. I remembered that date vividly, the day she walked out, slamming the door behind her. I moved quickly to the study while Richard followed, skeptical. Behind the dusty shelves, my fingers found a small steel door. I punched in the date, 0719. With a soft click, the safe opened. Inside was a folder, a set of keys, and a thick envelope. Richard stepped closer. "What's that?" "Bonds. Stocks." I opened the folder. Inside were property deeds, several, all signed in my father's name, all transferred to me. The old house wasn't just a house. It sat on land my father had quietly acquired over the years, acres of untouched woodland now valued in the millions. My breath caught. Richard's smile faltered. The lawyer cleared his throat again. "Your father also left a letter for you both." I unfolded it carefully. His handwriting was sharp, deliberate. "Richard, you inherited my name, my business, and my confidence. Thomas inherited my loyalty, my patience, and my trust. The land at Willow Creek is my true legacy, one I built for the son who stood by me, not the one who stood above me." Richard's face turned pale. This isn't fair," he stammered. "I built my life from scratch while you sat here doing nothing." "I took care of him," I said quietly. "You never called." He looked at me then, not with anger, but with something that almost resembled regret. "I didn't think he noticed," he murmured. "He noticed everything," I replied. The lawyer packed up his papers and left us standing in silence. For the first time, the grand echoing house felt alive again, filled with the ghost of a man who had finally spoken his truth. That night, as I walked through the rooms, I realized what my father had really given me. Not just land or money, but closure. He'd spent his last years teaching me something my brother had never learned. That value isn't measured in wealth, but in presence. Months passed. I restored the old house, turning it into a small retreat center for veterans, something Dad would have approved of. Richard visited once, standing awkwardly on the porch. "You did good with the place," he said quietly. "Dad would have liked that." "He would have liked to see us both here," I replied. He nodded, unable to meet my eyes. When he left, I watched his car disappear down the winding road, feeling neither triumph nor resentment, just peace. My brother had laughed when I inherited an old house, but in the end, the real joke wasn't on him or me. It was on the idea that money defines worth. Because in the quiet creak of those wooden floors, I heard my father's final lesson. Sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't what's given, but what's earned by staying when it mattered most. ChatGPT.